Alright, so just wanted to make a little wrap-up video going over Lincoln's training this first week, just in case I miss you this evening. I always make these videos at the end of the week, so you will get something every week, just to kind of see where we are with training. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of things, I've been taking him out into the yard this morning and yesterday. Prior to that, it's just my dogs and then maybe one or two staff dogs that I trusted. He's actually doing really well. Like he's not too stressed out. He'll sniff, but he doesn't really care. This morning was the first time I've seen him get a little antsy. He kind of went to go hump one dog, and it was that dog's first day, so they were stressed out too. So they were kind of like, "Rah!" And he did his normal pity stuff that all pitties do, where they're just very vocal and reactive. They get offended, so very easily offended and reactive, but almost more so just more vocal than actual action, or I guess, any malice or anything like that. So I think my goal with him is really going to be to create neutrality around those types of triggers. I'm not so worried about him being able to go into play groups full time, just because I think that for Lincoln, that is a lot, and not maybe something that he's overly interested in. I think maybe smaller interactions are going to be better fit for him as far as social goes, which is fine. Some dogs, they do really well with big groups. Some dogs are not a huge fan of it. Having a pity myself, I know that he gets very overwhelmed in those larger interaction settings, so it's not something that I put him into. So while we are going to be creating neutrality, I think moving forward in the future, my recommendation is to, and we'll of course go over all of this, is to continue that neutrality to dogs that don't matter for the future. So like a dog walking down the street, don't care about that, we're going to create neutrality. If it's something like a family member's dog that you're going to frequently see, that's where we would try to get better interactions, like one-on-one interactions, like if someone that you're dating, married to, whatever, I don't know your relationship status, anything like that. If they have a dog, of course, that's something that would matter. It's going to continue to be an interaction. That is something that I would want him to be better about being around. But a dog passing on the street, a neighbor dog, anything like that, where it's not very vital for them to interact, we're going to make them neutral. So neutral meaning they're not good, they're not bad, they just exist, and when he sees them, he gets reinforcement from you, and you are the one with value. So again, we'll go over all of that down the road. As far as the separation, I know that's something that you're working on at home. He is a little anxious in the kennel room. There's a lot going on, so I've been bringing him over here to, you can see it in the shot, into this kennel right here. It's got blankets that he fluffs. He likes to fluff them up. He hangs out here while I work with all my dogs, and usually I have Beta in the smaller kennel, my shepherd. They hang out a lot. I think it's just a nice buddy. And I've just been working on kind of entering and exiting the room, not making a big deal about it, and creating calmness. So I'll take him and I'll work with him, let him get some physical stimulation, mental stimulation, and then as we settle down, I'll put him in the kennel. And before I leave or disengage from him, I'm going to wait until he's in a calmer state. I don't want to get him all worked up and playing and then put him in there and then leave the room, because then he's kind of very vocal about that. So I want him to be nice and calm and settled, and then I'll go about my business and leave the room and come in and out, things like that. Okay, so really the biggest focus this week has been establishing a marker system. So a marker is just a cue or sound that marks a specific moment in time that I like something that he does. So if I'm trying to teach him a behavior, as soon as he shows the behavior, I want to mark that. And then that marker for him, it announces the arrival of food. So I have a couple different markers that I've been using. The big one for him, because of his reactivity, is going to be the clicker, which is just, if that's to find it, it's just, I click when he does something that I like, and then I offer him food. And for the clicker, there is no, how do I word this? There's no really expectations. It's just, click, you can come get food for me. So two other markers that I use are going to be the words good and okay. And those are verbal markers. Good is going to be eventually a duration marker, meaning when I ask him to go into behavior, I'll use the word good and then continue to use that to keep him in that behavior, and I'll kind of adjust that around as far as how often they give it and things like that as we progress. But when I ask him to go into a sit or a place or whatever, I use the word good. That means he's remaining behavior. When I use the word good, if I'm giving him food, which right now I am, I'm bringing the food to him. And then okay is going to be the terminal marker, meaning he can come out of behavior and he can come to me to get that reinforcement. So with the clicker, I'm going to use that a lot with his reactivity when we come across those triggers and things that he's reactive to. And something that I would like to start doing is using his meals for that, because he has a pretty nice food drive. He has a pretty nice food drive, but it is, in a situation like this where there's not a lot going on, his food drive is great. But as soon as we're even remotely at threshold, he doesn't care about food, and it's really hard to get him out of that. So obviously, right now, I'm working with him under threshold, but I would like to push that a little bit quicker or a little bit more. So I think that using his meals is going to put a little bit more value in what I have to offer, and I'll give you some literature on that and stuff too. But I'm really using that a lot when I take him out around other dogs. I want to build that engagement and value on me, even when we're out in a group setting where there's other dogs. I don't want him involved with them too much. I want him seeking me and seeking what I have to offer. So I think using a little bit of existential feeding is going to be really valuable in that engagement building and things like that. Right? He'd be so good. I am. But he's a really sweet dog. I've only seen him this morning be a little bit saucy, but even then I was able to just pull him away and he was fine and able to stay out in the yard a little bit longer. Easily offended. When the energy of the yard got a little excited, I could see him also very sensitive to that, and I pulled him before he had any type of bad experience. When he sees other dogs that are not in a group and kind of moving around like in the lobby or something, he does pull towards them a little bit, but it's not really in an aggressive manner. It's more of that like over social, he wants to go say hi, and it just comes across as reactive and intense. But I think that just because he's a pitty and very sensitive breed, and I'm not trying to talk about all pitties, I have one. I love the breed, but they're notoriously sensitive and also mischievous, so it gets them in trouble a lot. But he's a great dog. I don't really know where I was going with that, but I think he has a good future here, and we can get you all fixed, right, bud? Yeah. All right. I gotta find a thing to turn it off.